Hey, how's it going, everybody? This your boy MD from MDENT 313. Back at y'all with another video. What I want to talk about today is the Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Mungia post-fight reaction. My post-fight reaction thoughts. I'm here to tell you, man, that fight was a lot more entertaining than I expected. You had Jaime Mungia, man. He fought tremendously well the first 3 or 4 rounds, man. He was coming forward. He was really doing well, controlling Canelo with his jab, controlling the pace of the fight, hitting Canelo with some devastating straight right hands, some nice left hooks to the body. He was jabbing to the stomach, jabbing to the solar plexus very well. I mean, he was hitting Canelo with some big shots early on. But unfortunately for Jaime Mungia, things went almost exactly how I thought they would go. Canelo's counterpunching ability and experience, he took control. I mean, after the fourth round, Canelo dropped him with a crucial straight right, left uppercut, and Jaime Mungia never seemed to mentally. He recovered physically, but he didn't seem to mentally recover after that crazy knockdown from that uppercut. Canelo was countering him with all kind of left and right hooks. Canelo's jab for a shorter guy was extremely effective tonight. He seemed to be the heavier puncher, which I was completely shocked and surprised about. I know Canelo is a heavy thud and puncher, but I thought Jaime Mungia would be the heavier puncher between the two. Canelo's stamina issues didn't really seem to show up too bad like in past fights. He looked pretty good. He didn't really gas out too much. The only thing I was kind of surprised at, though, was I was expecting Canelo to get a ninth round knockout. If you look at my prediction for the fight, I was predicting Canelo would eventually catch up to Jaime Mungia and knock him out. But shout out to Jaime Mungia, man. Jaime Mungia took some big shots. And even though he took some big, hard shots where he was dazed and confused, he kept coming forward. He kept putting phenomenal pressure on Canelo. He was catching Canelo, man. But Canelo's counterpunching ability, it's crazy to see how much better Canelo has gotten over the years. And the more and more I think about it, when they talk about a potential fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, I still think Terence Crawford is the more skillful fighter, but I don't think it's by leaps and bounds. I know Terence Crawford will have a speed advantage, but I think Canelo's chin, he too is a great counterpuncher like Terence Crawford, but I think Canelo might just be too big for Terence Crawford. But they did ask Canelo Alvarez about the David Benavidez fight when they was doing the interview after he had just beaten Jaime Mungia. And once again, he still don't seem to be too excited about fighting David Benavidez. He gave his thoughts in his commentary, which sounds pretty much like a no. The crowd ended up booing him because that's the biggest fight in boxing to be made. We already had Terence Crawford, Earl Spence. I personally wouldn't mind seeing a rematch between those two, especially if Earl Spence looked good in his next fight and Terence Crawford looked good in his next fight. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch, but I still believe, Devin Haney and Tank, is a huge fight. It took a step down, because of the PED situation and scandal with Ryan and that, loss. if Ryan's PED test come back, the B sample, if it comes back positive, then maybe the Devin Haney fight and Tank fight can still be the biggest fight in boxing. But if not, I still think it's a pretty big fight, but it took a step down, because of all of the antics and Ryan Garcia's foolishness. But with that being said, Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez is right now the biggest fight to be made, point blank period, in the sport of boxing. I mean, you're talking about fireworks. I could see everything that Jaime Mungia did with Canelo Alvarez. David Benavidez can do it much better. He's bigger, faster hands, more power than Jaime Mungia. He has a much better defense than Jaime Mungia. I mean, I don't know if his defense is good enough to get the victory over Canelo, but it is much better than Jaime Mungia's. He has faster feet, faster hands. But Canelo counterpuncher, listen, man, when you fighting a devastating counterpuncher who's accurate, big, strong, sharp. Canelo was sharp last night. I mean, sharp. I mean, that can pose a problem for anybody. I'll be the first to admit that in the Earl Spence Terrence Crawford fight, I picked Earl Spence. I knew that he would have some trouble with Terrence Crawford because of the hand speed and counter punching ability, but I didn't predict he would have that much trouble with the counter punching. And man, when you're fighting a devastating counter puncher, you have to be on your A game. But the problem is, if you're a more aggressive fighter, a fighter who tends to fight off of volume, those counter punchers can negate your volume. So now it turns you into a more passive fighter, if you will. You now have to become strategic, methodical. You got to pick your shots. Your defense got to be super tight. Head movement got to be great. Because when you're fighting counter punchers, especially if they can counter over the top of your jab, or they're good at slipping your jab and countering to the body, coming back upstairs, I mean, it just kills your activity. There's no way around it, because the biggest way to get knocked out is going to go knock somebody out. And it's the punches that you don't see coming. Those are the punches that knock you out. Canelo has power to knock you out as it is. So you don't want to get caught with too many counters. We know Terrence Crawford is a big puncher, a devastating puncher. But again, that's between the lightweight division and 147. We got to see how Terrence Crawford does at 154 to see how much of an impact he will have on Canelo. I would personally like to see Terrence Crawford fight Jermell Charlo, gauge where both of those guys are, rematch Earl Spence, maybe move up to 60, get one fight in, then fight Canelo. But as far as right away, I would love to see Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez. Both of those guys will make a ton of money. If you do it on Mexican Independence Day, you know it's going to be absolutely crazy. Or if you want to wait another year and do it again, do it for Cinco de Mayo. That would also be a phenomenal idea. See how David Benavidez do it like heavyweight. He got a good fight coming up against Alexander Vostok. Excuse me if I butchered your last name. I didn't mean to. But listen, I'm very interested to know what you guys think. How did you see the fight? How did you score the fight? I was thoroughly entertained. It was money well spent, if you ask me. And let me guys know what you think in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe to MDENT 313. You got it. MDENT 313. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification button. And with that being said, I'm out. Peace.